Panthers coming off their first win, and Bryce Young having his best game.
Turned it around, baby.
Is this it? Baby step became a medium-sized step last week.
Just a small child step.
Yes.
In the right direction.
Yeah. Bryce Young against Gardner Minshew. Man, I hate picking on Gardner, but boy, some of the stats are rough. He's now second in the league in turnover-worthy plays, but he's got 5 big-time throws, 16 turnover-worthy plays this year. 6.7% is that the highest rate?
No. That's the highest rate, but it's not the highest.
It's the highest rate, right? Mac Jones has more total turnover-worthy plays.
Yes. Actually, it's not even the highest rate if you include PJ. And Bagent.
Oh, yeah, PJ's at 7.7. Yeah, Bagent has more turnover-worthy plays than Fields, doesn't he?
Possibly.
Yeah, he does. He certainly does. Fields' turnover-worthy play rate's only 2.4.
Yeah. Fields' turnover-worthy play rate has not been the problem. It's like staring at open
throws.
Right.
The takes on Fields are just, anyway, they're all over the place. From MVP to, like, watch the D2 guy.
Yeah.
Pretty wide. It's pretty wide.
Uh-huh.
All right, what are we talking about?
Minshew's been bad.
Panthers.
Putting the ball in harm's way.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, that's what's funny about Minshew, right? Like, if this was how he played his rookie season as a 6th rounder, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Threw a 6th rounder out there with a bad Jags team. I still never get one of the most difficult parts of sports analysis is like one season of good play.
Yeah.
And what do you do with it? Because the Minshew one season of good play as a rookie in a not good situation, in a situation in Jacksonville that was bad for multiple seasons from an offensive point of view, made you feel really encouraged about Minshew that you'd think by year 4, hey, guy should stick around. He's just been so inconsistent this year, though.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever been any kind of deep study done on just how compartmentalized single seasons can become. I don't know if it's a product of, 30% of the roster turns over every year and like half the coaching staff and blah, blah, blah. Like you don't get next year's team is not this year's team, right? Even if you think it is, it's different by 30% or whatever, like just the average turnover in the NFL. So when you're looking at the guy and he plays at a given level, even over the course of a whole season and an averages out and you're like, this is where he is, you expect him to play at that kind of level next year because you're like, well, it's the same, right? Everything stayed the same and we're good. But it didn't because 30% of the team changed and it's a different team every year, right? That kind of thing. Or if it's just that's how random football can be that next year it's a totally different, like reset. You have no idea if the guy's going to play at the same level or not. And this is just the way it can go. And it's why it's this weird dynamic where we look at numbers all the time and say, this guy is primed for a regression back to the mean, because his numbers are outlier right now. This is unsustainable. But it can be sustainable within a given season, right? And that's what's weird to me. And that's what you're seeing, I think, with Minshew. Like, we are seeing an outlier version of Minshew in the opposite direction that we saw an outlier version of Minshew in year 1. And somewhere in the middle is likely Minshew's standard, right? Minshew's general level. But he can be nowhere near that for an extended period of time in either direction.
The other element of it is, when a guy plays well, say like a Brock Purdy or whatever, we go and say, okay, he's playing well or the stats are good. What are the other factors? Okay, there's a good play caller and there's good playmakers. With Minshew, it's like he's playing well. The playmakers aren't that good. The play caller doesn't necessarily have a history. Man, he's elevating the Jags. Imagine if he had a good situation. Right, that's why Baker Mayfield analysis never made any sense. In his worst situations, he was good. In his good situations, on paper, he was not good. Anyway, so here we are, Colts and Panthers. It should have been Anthony Richardson versus Bryce Young, a fun little, back-to-back. It would have been back-to-back weeks of the Panthers facing the what could have beens, right? In C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson. Do you have buyer's remorse with Bryce Young and 1-0 in that department? Maybe we don't. After last week. So we don't get to see that necessarily, but one thing to highlight here, Panthers' worst team EPA per play allowed against the run. Colts' run game has been hit or miss, right? You get Zach Moss and, breaking off big runs here and there and Jonathan Taylor doing his thing, but it's just very inconsistent so far. But could be a game to get the run game going.
It's probably time we gave Adam Thielen some credit as well. I mean, he's been sort of held up as this poster child for the problems of the Carolina offense and their lack of receiving talent, but he currently has a PFF grade of 85.8. He's catching 81.4% of the passes thrown his way, which admittedly is aided by the fact that the average depth of target on those passes is only 7.5 yards. But like he's producing pretty well. I mean, he's averaging more than 2 yards per route run, which is it's a big enough number.
He's become, that uber slot guy,
like
dependable guy.
He's found the role for him within that offense. Now they're still missing certain elements. I mean, he's not even the player that he used to be, Adam Thielen. But he is good. Like he's not a problem within this offense. He's not. It's time like he was no longer held up. Like he's getting the Jacoby Myers treatment, right? Where he's only ever discussed as a reason that the offense stinks, right? Like Adam Thielen is your number one guy, therefore your offense is bad. Jacoby Myers is your number one receiver, therefore you have a receiver problem. Whereas actually both of those players, Adam Thielen this year and Jacoby Myers generally in his career, they're good players making positive impact.
Yeah, they are. This was, is this the Andrew Luck rookie or Reggie Wayne? That's what Thielen kind of has become.
Yeah.
Uber possession guy. You need help from the other receivers there in Carolina. I would keep an eye on Jonathan Taylor getting a little bit better. Every single week might be able to have some success against Carolina, but I think the Panthers are going to continue to take steps forward, Sam. I think the Panthers to cover as 2.5-point underdogs.